New video obtained by Local 4 shows a black pickup truck pulling up outside Hamtramck City Hall in the middle of the night, just days before the primary election. All of a sudden, the lights turn on inside the truck. That's when you spot 3 men inside, including what appears to be Councilmember Abu Musa in the back seat, the same council member who is seeking re-election right now. The video then shows the driver getting out and stuffing absentee ballots into the drop box. The only problem? They don't all fit.
A few moments later.
It's the evening of August 1st, 3 days before Hamtramck's primary election, and a car is seen pulling up to the Hamtramck ballot box, depositing 3 large stacks of ballots. In the passenger seat is who appears to be City Councilman Abu Musa, who is currently up for re-election.
A few moments later.
2 members of Hamtramck City Council facing a judge today in a case of election fraud. Both men are accused of forging signatures on absentee ballots in a tight general election.
So the election fraud that never happens has happened again, where an election seemingly has been stolen because people were stuffing a ballot box with fake votes. Let's talk about it. Okay, before we get started, I find it hilarious that under this video, they have this banner that talks about how great mail-in ballots are and how secure they are. But I'm about to show you the facts and where some politicians in Michigan stole elections by fraudulently stuffing the ballot box with fraudulent votes through mail-in ballots. Now, that's my specialty here. I like to cover the stories that the mainstream media ignores because I think you need to know. And if this is one of those stories you like, don't forget to hit that subscribe button because the only way you're going to get these stories is if you're subscribed to the channel. Or you can continue to let the mainstream media tell you how mail-in ballots are 1000% safe and there's nothing to see here. Click the button and let's go on this ride. All right, welcome to Hamtramck, Michigan, which is a very interesting place. Hamtramck is found within the city of Detroit. Essentially, it's a city within a city. Now, the city has about 28,000 citizens and it is extremely diverse. Now, Hamtramck is famous because it's the first Muslim majority city in the United States. Now, some estimates have that about 44% of Hamtramck's population is foreign born. Now, the city historically leans Democrat in most federal elections. For instance, it went for Harris over Trump in the last presidential election, and the city leadership has always been Democrat. All right, now let's go back to 2023. August primary election and 3 council seats are available. Now, the way they run their elections here is a little different. See, they have a primary, which is the top 6 finishers, then go on to the general election. And in the general election, the top 3 finishers become council members to fill those 3 vacant council seats. Now, 2 men, Mohsen Sadman and Mohammed Hussein, were running for city council and ran in the primary. In that election, they came in 4th and 5th. They weren't in the top 3, but they were still in the top 6 that led them to the general election. Now, in the general election, they went from 4th and 5th place to 1st and 3rd place, winning a seat on the council.
In 2023. And interestingly, when you take a look at the results of the primary, only the top 3 candidates, they would have won. These 2 came in 4th and 5th. But in the general election, somehow the voters had a big change and they came in 1st and 3rd.
Now, authorities started checking and saw that it was the mail-in ballots that made the difference. But when authorities started looking at those mail-in ballots, they noticed some very interesting things.
The allegation stemming from the 2023 election. That's when the city clerk noticed unusual patterns with absentee ballots, including identical handwriting on envelopes and large bundles dropped off at once.
Now, authorities started looking into what was going on at Hamtramck, and they found that some of the city councilors may be serving illegally because they don't even live in a city.
At the April 25th Hamtramck City Council meeting, a private investigator revealed using public records, surveillance, and GPS tracking that council members Muhith Mahmood lives in Troy and Abu Musa lives in Warren.
The investigation revealed substantial discrepancies between the candidates who sworn affidavits and independent investigative findings.
At Tuesday's meeting, both Mahmood and Musa argued that while they do have second homes in those communities, they live in Hamtramck.
My W-2 since 2011 in Hamtramck address, and my all other things, my insurance, my car, everything in Hamtramck.
Mayor Pro Tem Khalil Rafai said that there's not enough evidence for any action right now, and the city council voted against removing either Musa or Mahmoud.
Now, you saw here Councilman Musa holding up papers saying, I live here in Hamtramck, I live here in Hamtramck. Well, he's also running for re-election city council, and things weren't going too great. Now, because there were some issues earlier with people dropping off strange things at the drop box, the city put a camera at the drop box to see who was coming and putting things in there. And this is what the cameras caught.
It's the evening of August 1st, 3 days before Hamtramck's primary election, and a car is seen pulling up to the Hamtramck ballot box, depositing 3 large stacks of ballots. In the passenger seat is who appears to be City Councilman Abu Musa, who is currently up for re-election. Michigan State Police confirmed they've had this video as they investigate Musa and another councilman for questions around their residency and other accusations.
But now, don't be shocked. They actually caught them doing this again.
New video obtained by Local 4 shows a black pickup truck pulling up outside Hamtramck City Hall in the middle of the night, just days before the primary election. All of a sudden, the lights turn on inside the truck. That's when you spot 3 men inside, including what appears to be Council Member Abu Musa in the back seat, the same council member who is seeking re-election right now. The video then shows the driver getting out and stuffing absentee ballots into the drop box. The only problem? They don't all fit. He then starts pushing them in before reaching for 2 more stacks. The whole time looking around to see if anyone is watching. After about 2 minutes, the group drives away.
Now, when you look at the vote totals, Musa was the #1 person in the primary, getting 1,129 votes. But the vast majority of them, over 800 of those votes, came from absentee mail-in ballots. Only 286 people actually voted for him on election day in person. Now, before we get too crazy with this, is vote harvesting illegal in Michigan? Is it illegal to just go and take hundreds of thousands of mail-in ballots from one place and deposit them in a ballot box? What is the law in this state?
Well, in case you're wondering whether or not it's illegal to drop off multiple ballots to a ballot box, well, it is, unless it's for an immediate family member.
Are you able to return more than one ballot, I guess is the question. And if so, whose are you able to actually return?
So you can, but there's a big caveat as to whose ballot you can return. It's an immediate family member, or if you cohabitate with somebody. It doesn't have to be in a romantic way, right? But that you cohabitate with someone, you can return their ballots, their absentee ballots for them.
It's unclear whose ballots were being returned in this video.
Yeah, maybe they're returning hundreds of their family members' absentee ballots all at one time, people who they live with. Well, authorities did some more digging and started making some arrests. First, remember the first 2 council members who miraculously won the general election after essentially losing the primary? Well, they were arrested for voter fraud.
Well, we know a lot. We know the 2 current city council people right here in Hamtramck, they are charged with voter fraud. Let me tell you who they are, first of all. Mohammed Hassan, 57 years old. He's been on the council for a while. Fairly well-known person here in Hamtramck. But he's charged with 3 counts of forging signatures on absentee ballots. And then the other one, Matasan Sadman, 26 years old. He's charged with 5 counts, basically phoning up signatures on absentee ballots.
Mohammed Hassan and Mutasin Sadman arraigned in court on Tuesday.
Mail-in voting is not as secure as they make it seem because, as you've been seeing with the videos, they were stuffing a ballot box like it was a turkey on Thanksgiving. They were putting votes in there. And as you can see from the vote tallies, it worked because their mail-in votes were, 4 times more than the votes on election day, which is a little unusual. Now, let me unpack this real quick. You had 2 councilmen who were essentially charged with voter fraud. They're innocent until proven guilty, but they're charging them with voter fraud. Then you have 2 other councilmen, one who was caught on camera getting in the car stuffing ballots. They haven't been charged yet, but authorities are looking into them and whether they even live in the city that they're serving on the city council for, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on. But at the end of the day, do you think this election was stolen? Do you think that them stuffing this ballot box is illegal? I'm going to say it. I think the state's got a pretty good case. Now, if you think these men are 100% innocent and this is just some totally misunderstanding, hey, they went to a nursing home and got a whole bunch of mail-in ballots, and that's what they were doing. They were doing God's work. They were helping people out. If you believe that, let me know in the comment section, because I think these guys are crooks and are getting caught and are likely going to do some jail time if somebody starts really looking into this. Because if Michigan law says you can only take mail-in ballots for people who you cohabitate with or people who you're romantically involved with or family members or something like that, then these guys dumping these ballots into that ballot box, they better hope that those ballots were people who were related to them or people they lived with, because that's going to be a hard sell. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do like great YouTube stuff. My name is Nate the Lawyer. I'm out. Peace.